Have you ever noticed how certain people seem to possess a different vibration, almost as if they knew aspects that we can't even conceive? And notice that these people are not always what we call ordinary. Today we'll address something that many people don't even perceive. These people who possess high spirituality are sometimes not as calm as they appear. And I'm going to reveal to you that this can be quite threatening. But before we delve into this captivating matter, leave your like down here because you won't want to miss what follows. And besides, that contributes enormously to the channel to continue offering material like this. Let's go. When we reflect on spirituality, the first vision that arises in our mind is that of someone calm, peaceful, in harmony with the cosmos. But does it always happen that way? The reality is that it can be something more intricate. In fact, there are people with high spirituality who carry such powerful internal energy that it can seem a bit intimidating. I'm not referring to physical threat, but to something much more subtle, something that impacts the mind and spirit of those around them. These people have a power that transcends meditation or positive affirmations. It's as if they maintained a deep connection with the cosmos and with realities that few of us manage to perceive. And that's where the situation becomes fascinating, because underestimating these people can be a very costly mistake. And you'll understand why. Now think about being before a person who seems to look into your soul. It's not witchcraft. It's not some mystical gift, but an almost supernatural perception that has been developed during years of self-reflection and spiritual exercises. These highly spiritual people cultivate a capacity that seems to be imperceptible to most of us. They manage to see what is hidden behind words, actions, and even the deepest intentions. It's as if they possessed a special lens that facilitates discovering what we try to hide. Our insecurities, our fears, and even our small falsehoods become almost human lie detectors, identifying with accuracy when someone is being dishonest or manipulative. This transforms them into formidable opponents in any kind of social or professional exchange. The most fascinating thing is that this capacity doesn't appear out of nowhere. It's the fruit of a mixture of penetrating observation and developed intuition that arises from years devoted to meditation and self-knowledge. Think about being in a negotiation with someone like this. Before you even pronounce a word, that person already knows what your next move will be and has understood what you truly desire. And therein lies the danger. While many try to deceive her, she's already several steps ahead, perceiving even the most secret motivations. This makes them complicated people to manipulate, and for those who try, the outcome is predictable. In reality, this makes these people become an almost intrusive presence, unveiling realities about ourselves that perhaps we're not prepared to face. If there's something that makes these spiritual people even more impactful, it's the unwavering certainty they carry with them. Remember the last time you had total certainty about something, multiply it by 1,000 and apply it to all aspects of your existence. That's how a large part of these people experience life. Their convictions, shaped during years of personal experiences and profound moments of self-examination, don't waver easily. They don't let themselves be influenced by mere opinions or conjectures, but by a deeply rooted sensation that their perspective of the world is solidly linked with something superior. This keeps them stable, even when everything in their environment questions their vision. Their certainty doesn't vacillate. This security can be imposing, especially in debates or conversations. They don't need to raise their tone or resort to emotional arguments to demonstrate something. On the contrary, their tranquility and unwavering security already displaces the opponent from the beginning. No matter how many efforts are made to expose opposing arguments, these spiritual people remain unperturbed. Furthermore, this certainty frequently transcends simple convictions. It transforms into a vital purpose. They perceive that they have a calling to act according to their truths, questioning norms and structures when necessary. And therein lies the authentic power. When a person with such solid convictions decides to battle for a cause, they become a force impossible to overlook. The emotional resistance of these spiritual people is something that defies many people's understanding. While most of us are influenced by life's fluctuations, they seem to navigate complicated situations with an almost supernatural serenity. This doesn't imply that they don't experience pain or melancholy, but that they have an extraordinary ability to handle those emotions without allowing them to devour them. The foundation of this resistance lies in a deep understanding that everything is part of a broader purpose, a cosmic order that transcends present circumstances. When something fails, instead of anguishing, they interpret it as an opportunity for evolution, as a test for their faith and internal strength. And that emotional resistance is what makes them almost invulnerable in tense situations. Imagine finding yourself in a conflict, in a negotiation, or even in a moment of crisis. While everyone in your environment is on the verge of collapse, the spiritual person maintains their calm. This can be profoundly destabilizing for those who expect a more intense emotional reaction, since they don't make hasty decisions and, most relevantly, they don't let themselves be dominated by momentary emotions. This capacity to maintain a clear mind, even in the most challenging moments, grants them an immense advantage in practically any scenario and, naturally, makes them even more complicated to defeat. Where many would capitulate, they continue with a tranquility that is both admirable and imposing. Spiritual people seem to be almost enigmatic, as if they maintained a direct connection with a source of wisdom that goes beyond ordinary understanding. For many of them, intuition is not simply a hunch, but a precise tool that has been refined through years of meditation, self-reflection, and spiritual practices. This sensitivity facilitates their identification of patterns and signals that most of us would miss. It's as if they could perceive almost instantly what's about to happen or what's happening behind the scenes in a circumstance. This can be so accurate that for those who contemplate them, it gives the impression that they're predicting the future. This penetrating intuition not only facilitates their making decisions that, at first glance, might look reckless or illogical, but that finally prove to be correct in competition or confrontation scenarios. This capacity gives them an advantage that many cannot match. They're capable of interpreting people and environments as if they had a secret manual, understanding hidden motivations and concealed intentions. And it doesn't stop there. This intuition also guides them to proceed resolutely without hesitation, trusting completely in this internal knowledge, which can be both stimulating and disturbing for those who are nearby. After all, when someone acts with such security based on something that not everyone can perceive, that person's unpredictability makes them even more powerful and complicated to understand. While many of us invest a large part of existence pursuing wealth, recognition, and material goods, highly spiritual people seem to inhabit a different world where those things simply lack importance. The authentic meaning of life resides in something much deeper, something that cannot be calculated in properties or bank figures. This distancing from material concerns makes them incredibly different and on many occasions extremely complicated to handle in contexts where the game of influence depends on wealth or social prestige. They simply don't submit to pressures that involve the pursuit of earthly things, which can completely disarm conventional dynamics of negotiation or authority. Imagine finding yourself in a controversy with someone who doesn't care about the financial outcome or recognition. They can abandon material benefits with surprising ease because for them, the authentic value lies in their connection with the spiritual. This grants them a freedom and strength that many of us cannot understand. The notion of losing something material simply doesn't disturb them, and this makes them immune to threats or manipulations that include money or status. This lack of attachment is so destabilizing that for those who rely on those resources, it becomes almost impossible to confront them. They participate in a totally different game where the currency of exchange is spiritual development, internal truth, and mental serenity, values that ultimately transcend any material wealth. The capacity for influence that these spiritual people exercise over others is almost supernatural. They don't need to raise their tone or impose their perspectives forcefully. Their mere presence is enough to generate a profound impact on the people in their environment. It's as if they emanated such intense serenity and certainty that others automatically feel magnetized by that energy. And this influence not only relates to what they do, but also to how they make others feel. The tranquility they bring can completely modify the atmosphere of a space, pacifying conflictive situations and guiding others toward a state of deeper contemplation. Furthermore, this ability to influence transcends emotions. It also reaches convictions and even behavior. When someone with such intense spirituality speaks, their words possess a different weight. They're capable of transmitting complex, profound, and spiritual concepts in a way that seems simple and comprehensible, connecting people with a broader understanding. This makes them perceived as innate leaders, even in non-religious contexts. However, the danger of their influence can, in some circumstances, get out of control, leading to a kind of unconditional following. In extreme cases, dynamics similar to those of cults can form, where people are so impacted by the force of their spiritual presence that they end up following them without question, which can open doors to manipulations and unpredictable consequences. Overcoming fear is perhaps one of the most impactful characteristics of these highly spiritual people. For most of us, fear is a force that immobilizes us, that makes us hesitate before making important decisions or facing challenging situations. But for them, fear acquires a completely different form. They confront it as part of the human experience, something that can be understood and, above all, overcome through their spiritual practices and their connection with something superior. These people develop a kind of relationship with fear that goes beyond the ordinary. They're not exactly audacious, but they know how to manage fear in a way that they transform it into something practically harmless. This becomes even more evident in crisis situations. While many are devoured by anxiety and panic, these spiritual people remain serene, as if they could see a reality that others cannot perceive. They make decisions with lucidity without hesitating, and frequently assume leadership roles in moments of great tension. This almost disturbing serenity also expands to fear toward death. For them, death doesn't represent the end, but a transformation, a natural part of the spiritual journey. And this perspective makes them even more intrepid because they don't fear what's to come. This ability to overcome fear transforms them into truly powerful and, in a certain way, unpredictable people. When someone acts without being dominated by fear, they free themselves to do things that others would never venture to attempt. If you made it to this point, I congratulate you. You are among the few people who possess the ability to maintain such concentration, and so that you know you made it here, comment "I am awake," and I will personally greet you in the comments. Until next time.